By the time you see this, I am standing in the former ZWHS Library, and I would like to give you just one last look at it before it goes. Now, the library you see here will soon be turned into the new Venture Academy that will be opening up in January. However, the new library will be moved to a different place. And now we'll be following the movement of the Zealand West Library across the hall on a weekly basis until it reopens on November 28. Now, with week 1, very little changed. Although you can see some moving equipment came in, not that much noticeable happened as in new things in the library. However, you'll notice the books had been removed from the back shelves and were put anywhere they could find space. It's almost sad to see these empty shelves that once housed so much knowledge and so much that we could learn from. The front table, however, wasn't enough space for all these books. I mean, just look at these kids working diligently as books must have been stacked around them in every possible direction. They didn't even seem to notice how books literally span from wall to wall. In the succeeding weeks, books are removed from the shelves at an increasing rate and placed onto any flat surface that could be found. Just look at the table in the front lobby. It has been stacked to the brim. Any more books on there would not be safe. And same thing with the cart, and same thing with most of the tables that you can see sitting around in the media center. It gives us a quick reminder of just how many books are actually in this library. I mean, since they all had to be put somewhere while the shelves were being moved, they all had to be set out somewhere just for a quick stay. However, that stay lasted longer and longer as this new library was being set up. Just look at how much it changed over the last 3 weeks. All but one shelf had been removed. Moving equipment was being brought back and forth from across the hall. As you can see, the little scooters sitting on the floor, as well as some of the personal equipment of some of the workers. As you can see, the media center itself had not been moved yet, at least much of it. The computers all sat on one table, and sitting next to all the rest of the books that still remained. But now let's take a look at what is now the new library. As you can see, it had been stripped of much of the old cubicles that used to remain. Other than just some stuff that could be left behind, there wasn't much to say about this new library so far. Most of what had been happening had been across the hall until week 3. On week 3, the new shelves had been brought in and were quickly cleaned by our kind and generous librarians. Quick work had to be made to meet the November 28 deadline. It was now strange to see the shelves in a room that had once been completely empty. However, soon these shelves would be filled wall to wall with books, just like the old library. However, still some elements remained, including that faucet and the paper towel dispenser, which really didn't seem necessary anymore. Seemingly all at once, the books had been brought in. In merely just one night, all this stuff happened. It was so quick that I didn't even have time to film the transition. And next thing you know, the library was already open. A room that was just plain and dead mere weeks ago was now brought to life by the wonder of the books. Aisle to aisle, filled with books, with just a few blank spaces in between. The librarians quickly moved in as well. And they began working just as diligently as they had been during the transition. Hard to believe, a new library it was. And it would be that way for years to come. Brought over was its life and wonder. However, let's take a look at the before and after. Before, there was a large library, full of life and wonder. However, after, it was cold and dark. The back of it was not even lit, eerie and silent. But before, once again, you can see how it was full of light, unlike it is now, where it is dark and only just a few remnants still remain that will be removed very shortly. Just like at East, it will become the new Venture Academy. Now before, there used to be a cubicle in there, and people just began taking it down as I began recording. I was very proud to renew my old book in the new library.